Welcome to Peak Stitching here in Estes Park. I'm Debbie, unless it is on camera. And today I'm going to be showing you how I like to do my bindings. But before I get started, I've got to show you some really fun new things that we got in. I'm going to start off with this Sunlit Bear. Sunlight, not sunlit. Sunlight Bears. I just love it. It just like wakes you up in the morning going, this is life. It is good. And then we've got a couple of blenders that go with it. And we are going to be putting this into kits. So we'll be cutting those later today. So look for those on from the newsletter and also online if you want to jump ahead. Okay, Catherine does try to get them out weekly. Catherine's going to correct me on that, hopefully, and you will see it this week. So we also got in this really cute night owl collection. I just love it. So this will be cut into panels. There'll be 8 owls per panel. And then we have the blender fabrics with owls on this one and moths on this one. And then some just nice foliage on the other end there. And we'll probably put in some blenders with it. And if possible, we'll look for a pattern to match that up for you to give you an idea. But, you know, we can always do our own thing on whatever we would like to do. So I want to remind you that on the Wednesday before Thanksgiving, we will be closing at 3. We will be closed Thanksgiving Day, and we will reopen on Friday, the day after Thanksgiving, on our normal hours, 10 to 5. So when I am doing a binding, I've already pressed my fabric. My fabric is completely open. This is a 1/2 yard cut. And I'm going to start, this is the prep for binding. Remember a couple of weeks ago I did the finishing with a binding? And so I'm going to use an omni edge because my 24-inch ruler actually does not go across from this point to this point on this 45-degree angle. I'm going to double check that. It is a 45-degree angle before I cut. It's just a little bit short to do it. So I'm going to lay my ruler because I'm going to cut it on the bias. And why on the bias? I like the way that a bias binding settles into your quilt. It kind of stretches where it needs to stretch, but you don't want to over pull it. So I'm going to cut this at a 45-degree angle across here. And again, the fabric is all open. Unless I grabbed my rotary cutter and should grab the right one. One needs a blade change. Okay, so now I have these 2 different pieces that are triangles. With triangle edges here. I'm going to do them one at a time. Sure I am. That's funny, I can't remember how to do it. I did this yesterday and I still can't. That's bad. Okay, so we're going to line. So this is the edge I cut. Right here, I'm lining this edge up to this edge here. And I'm going to try to keep these points somewhat the same. It makes it a little easier when I do the next thing because I'm going to use a Stripology, the large ruler, to cut my binding. So I need to pull this piece up, and this fold here and this fold here need to be a line up on lines so that I don't get wonky curves in it. So that needs to come up just a little bit more on this side. So I did fold it over. Okay, notice that this edge here is not quite even. I'm not worried about that because I'm always going to start with my fresh cut edge. And I'm going to line it up on one of the lines down here on the bottom of the fold. Check my top, make sure it's good and straight still. And then remember, this is the edge that you cut when you cut the 45-degree angle. And so now I'm just going to go through and cut my 2.5-inch strips. This is actually kind of nice cutting on this table. It kind of bends with me as I'm cutting. I shouldn't have said that in public because now I'm going to be held to that. Okay, 17 and a half. And I just cut all of these strips. Okay, so then I would repeat it with the other side because this might be a lap size quilt and I would need both sides. But Les is going to follow me into where the sewing machine is. And so I've already got a couple things going here. Dropping my stitch size down, but I've got my sew straight on so that I don't have to mark my corners. And yes, you're going to get big and little pieces. So the first piece I'm going to lay down, horizontal. And the next piece I'm going to lay vertically, facing up, facing down. Bottom one is facing up, top one is facing down. I want to get a 90-degree angle right here. I almost said 45. I'm going to repeat that so you guys don't get confused by my muttering here. I'm going to get a 90-degree angle here. And now, if you don't have a sew straight, you're going to have to mark a straight line across here. But because I have a sew straight, we're going to use it. I got a little curly thread right there. I'm old school. I always still hold my threads when I get started. That way I don't have to worry about the machine pulling it in. Okay, so I'm going to sew. Now, I lined it up. Can you come in here, Lester, for a moment, please? So I lined up the first 90-degree angle right here in the top, and I'm lining up the bottom right here. And I just sew. And I just keep this one down here lined up with that line. Okay, and now I want to add my next piece. So this piece down here, I'm just going to flip it back over. It's kind of a short one. And I'm going to grab another piece. So remember, this one's horizontal and it's facing up. This one's vertical at an angle right now. And I just keep going. And I do it again. So line it up on top with the needle. Line it down here on the bottom with the straight, or the stitching line is what it's called on here. And you just keep repeating this until you get enough of your binding sewn together. And then I like to press my seams open if it's a wall hanging. And if it is going to be a bed quilt, I like to fold it over. There's a little bit more reinforcement, but there's a little bit more, you've got one more fabric in there, so it makes it a little lumpier. And if you remember, I do not fold my fabric over and press it. I wait to fold it over when I get to the quilt. So that is how I prep my binding for the quilt. And if you want to go back a couple of weeks and catch what I did with putting the bindings on to follow up, it's quick, I'm fast, I like it done. And I don't like doing binding, but it gets it done. Have a great day. Until next week.